Hey everyone, welcome to the Full Potential Parenting Podcast. I'm your host, Allison Morris, and for this first episode, I thought I would introduce myself. I am the single adoptive mom to a child who is now over 14, who was 6 months old when I brought her home. Thought I was an awesome mom for about the first 2 years, maybe a little bit longer, and then things started to get more difficult. And I didn't understand what the heck was going on. I had had some training in attachment as part of my, home study process through the adoption process, but was not prepared for what I was encountering. And it wasn't until I think my daughter was about 4 when I finally went out and bought a copy of the book Beyond Consequences, Logic, and Control by Brian Post and Heather Forbes. And that book really opened my eyes. And for the first time, I really heard the word trauma used in a different way. So not, acute or shock trauma, but I don't think they used the word developmental trauma back then, but the kind of, sort of an attachment-related trauma of a real wounding in the early part of life. And that really made a lot of sense to me as an explanation for what my daughter was going through and why we were starting to struggle. And I ended up connecting with a lot of great parents online. I ended up starting a weekly online interview show, the Full Potential Parenting Show. I later started the Full Potential Parenting Summit, which was also called the Healing Our Children World Summit for a number of years. And with this podcast, what I thought I would do is offer some just nuggets of knowledge, little snippets from some of the many, many things I have learned over the years from interviewing so many different doctors and parents and practitioners and folks who just work in so many different capacities, trying to help parents, trying to help kids, trying to understand what's going on. And in about 8 to 12 minutes, share a little bit of what I have learned. So we're going to be doing some book reviews. I'm going to be teaching you some really great stress release tips. We're going to be talking about some interesting concepts like the polyvagal theory and neuroception and interoception. And we're going to be talking about why behavior is really, in some respects, the last thing you should be worrying about when it comes to your child. We're going to be talking about tapping because I'm an EFT practitioner. We are going to be talking about so many different things in kind of bite-sized pieces. So I just want to say too, my understanding of all of this has shifted so many times over the years. So, when I started, I thought love, I just need to love my kid, and that will help everything. That will heal everything, that will fix everything that seems to be wrong. And then I kind of shifted, and it was all about brain development, and we were kind of focusing on that. And then I kind of went down a little path where it was all more energetic work. And then it was all about biomedical stuff and healing the gut and making sure supplements were right. And then it became, oh gosh, I don't even know where I went from there. Over the years, I think I have kind of blended all these things together, recognizing that all of these things have a role to play in helping our children reach their full potential. The other thing, of course, that I have learned, and that I'm still learning, is that while it can be so challenging to be a parent to a child who is really struggling with emotional issues, with behavioral issues, whether they have a diagnosis or not, and almost regardless of the diagnosis. And that's another topic that we'll discuss at some point, the value of diagnosis. And anyway, I've just come to learn that all of these things have a role to play, and that healing happens in cycles. It's a lot of ebb and flow. It's a lot of trusting your gut. It's a lot of relying on your village. Oh, and to go back to the point I was making earlier, it also offers us as parents, this awesome opportunity to get to know ourselves better, to do a lot of our own healing, to recognize our triggers, to look back on places maybe where we are wounded, and to really work on ourselves. And sometimes that's not very pleasant. Often it's not very pleasant while we're going through it. And then coming out the other side, we realize what a gift that has been. So I hope you will let others know about the Full Potential Parenting podcast. I really hope that this will be of use to parents who are struggling, to practitioners who work with kids and parents, and who maybe, are looking for some additional insights about what they may be seeing with their clients, and other healthcare practitioners of all stripes as well, who are just looking for a few more insights in the world of trauma and adverse childhood experiences and toxic stress and all that sort of stuff, from the perspective of a certified trauma mama who has really been through the ringer over the years. And I will say I'm not out of the woods yet, but I continue to learn, we continue to grow, and we're going to keep doing the work. So thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you'll help spread the word. And then I want to invite you, if you're interested in some free resources, I'd love you to hop on over to parentingmasterclass.com, where you can sign up to grab a free parenting masterclass on right now I believe it's on aggressive and defiant children, but we may be shifting that over the time, so it may be a different masterclass when you show up a little bit later if you're watching this at a later point in time. So thank you so much for joining me. That's it for now. Bye-bye.